Hey Siri, how do I refund an iTunes purchase?
Hear my voice, dearly departed, I break on my knees.
Hi, and welcome to Life Hacks with Travis Lausch. In this episode, we'll be talking about 5 ways you can spend 80 minutes more productively and pleasantly than listening to the entirety of the new Coheed and Cambria album, Vaxis Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures. You could undergo a minor surgical procedure. You could finally fix that wobbly chair in your kitchen you've been putting off for years. You could give your mother-in-law a phone call. You could watch the entirety of a made-for-TV sequel to a Disney movie. You could listen to the only good song on this album 10 times in a row. Alright Travis, it's time to pull this review together. So, Coheed and Cambria have a brand new record out called Vaxis Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures. And let me be honest with you here. I was really hoping this would be a more positive review. I realize this is the second review on my channel and I'm already kind of going into it with a couple negative reviews. Please let the new Hagen album be good. But to be honest, I just wasn't feeling this record. It starts off promisingly enough with Prologue and The Dark Sentencer, which is, I'm going to say for all intents and purposes, they're one track. I don't separate them. And it's a 10-minute long epic with some brilliant narration, really good build-up with the piano and everything in the intro, into, this pulsating shuffle rhythm kind of beat, and it's brilliant, it's amazing, it's everything I've wanted Coheed and Cambria to be since, that record, which is ironically their third album. You see, this is a return to the Amory Wars concept that the band has been, had ongoing from the very beginning. This sprawling, epic science fiction saga that has dominated the lyrics in their music pretty much from the beginning, and even seeped into some side projects like the Prizefighter Inferno and all that. And on their last album, they kind of abandoned the whole concept for The Color Before the Sun, which was sort of their attempt to do a normal record, one with very personal lyrics. And even though I didn't really care too much for that record, I did appreciate that they were kind of breaking out of the mold a little bit. And then when they said they were coming back with another Amory Wars concept, it was kind of a big deal in the Coheed fan community because, everybody wants more Amory Wars. This is the first of a 5-album series. So there's a lot to unpack story-wise here, but when you listen to this album, it's 80 minutes long, first of all. It's incredibly long. They packed every second you can put on a CD into this record. And it's also anticlimactic. There never really feels on this record like the album is building up to a climax. And when the album ends, it doesn't even feel like a cliffhanger. It just feels like they've been telling this story, and then all of a sudden you're cut. And this is coming from the same band that had some actually pretty genius writing devices for their music, like on that record again, which, you know what? This guy is a friggin' masterpiece. Buy this record. Listen to this record. If you haven't listened to this record, go do it. The band has fallen so far from that. It seems like every record after that's just been meh, more of the same. And on Vaxis Act 1, there really isn't anything in the music that's unexpected, experimental, different. There's nothing left of center. It's all the same sort of pop-punk meets prog songwriting. It just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't really do anything. Certainly, I could lament that there is the lack of a sort of multi-part epic on the record, something along the lines of The Willing Well, The End Complete, The Key Extraction, Entity, whatever it was called from the Afterman records. But even the other albums that they've released that didn't have those, at least had 1 or 2 tracks that were sort of a little more epic, like The Light in the Glass, Never Ender. But this record is just, it's, to quote my fellow YouTuber, it's kind of a slog. It's 80 minutes and nothing really feels like it builds up. It just kind of goes along. The story this time around is a bit of a sequel to all of the other Amory Wars concepts of the past. It deals with part of the key work, which is a group of planets that were central to the themes of the original Amory Wars albums. They've now been sort of, I guess, destroyed, and one of them is now a prison planet, and the entire album revolves around the escape of two characters, the Creature and Sister Spider. And it starts with them, and it's supposed to end with the birth or life of the titular character, Vaxis, but we never really get to see what the Vaxis thing is about. That's not in this album. Like I said, this album doesn't really have a cliffhanger, it just kind of ends, and I guess we're supposed to wait for the next part of the story to come out. It's kind of a little bit like if an author released a book 10 chapters at a time, without any real rhyme or reason for cutting it off at that point. It could be in the middle of some important scenario in the book, or it could just be mid-conversation. And that's kind of what this album feels like. It kind of gets cut off mid-conversation. I guess I should point out that there are a few positives on this record. It isn't all just bleak and dreary. The production's good. It's a really good production for the band. It's a very good sounding record. Compared to some of their more recent records, there's a little bit more emphasis on more intricate instrumental work. It seems like Travis Stever gets to play a few more guitar solos than usual. There isn't really anything too extreme on this record in terms of, weird time signatures, interesting song structures. It's all very verse-chorus, verse-chorus. But individually, some of these songs are some of the strongest the band has released in a long time, so there is that. Overall, though, this probably isn't going to be an album I'm going to recommend you purchase. I would stream it first just to make sure you even like it. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, it's probably a solid 6. Yeah, Travthany Fan Lausho signing off. It's a bit of a disappointing album. Please don't let me down, Haken.
Na, 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 na.